Hey there, I'm Gigi, Emerging Technologies Librarian with the San Diego Central Library, and I'm here to present 3D Modeling Intro to Tinkercad, where you will be able to learn how to design a personalized keychain using this really awesome 3D modeling software, which is free. This is presented by the Idea Lab and the Innovation Lab at the library. I'll be sure to provide a link at the end of this presentation so you can check out the library's technology labs and see what we have to offer. I'll also provide details on how to get your 3D model printed out for free from the Innovation Lab with contactless pickup. And most of all, feel free to ask any questions along the way. Let's get started. On the front page, you can find out a little more about Tinkercad, access lesson plans, learn more about what Tinkercad can be used for beyond 3D printing, such as circuits, coding, and more. Join now if you have not already done so for a free personal account. Sign up with your email or sign in with your Google, Apple, Microsoft, or Facebook account to connect right away. Using Tinkercad is easy because it runs in your browser, so you don't need to download or install any software. You'll be amazed at how easy it is to 3D model with Tinkercad. We'll place our 3D model shapes into our work plane, add and remove material, make adjustments in the design space, and combine the set of shapes to create a single group model to prepare it for 3D printing. From the home page, you can access your past and recent designs to continue editing. Clicking on the Tinkercad logo will bring you back to this dashboard. To begin our model, click the Create New Design button, which will open up a new project page. To name the design document, simply click on the generated name and type in a new one. Let's review the Tinkercad interface. The blue plane at the center of the page is known as the work plane and is where we will do all of our designing. The panel with geometric shapes on the right contains basic building blocks for everything we will design. And the menu on the top bar will be used to perform important operations like aligning, merging, copy, and pasting. And finally, use the 3D box on the top left-hand side to change your view of the work plane. Manage your view options using the menu on the left-hand side. If your mouse has a rolling wheel, you can zoom in and out by rolling it back and forth. Press and hold the wheel to pan across the screen. Your design will automatically save. If you click on the Tinkercad logo, it will take you back to the dashboard where you will be able to access the design at a later time. Real quick, let's review that dimensions are a measurable extent of some kind, such as length, width, or height. In its simplest form, a line describes one dimension, a plane, as in our work plane, describes 2 dimensions, and a cube describes 3 dimensions. You can modify the size of a grid on your work plane in Tinkercad. This is helpful when you want to have design constraints or make sure that your design will fit on a 3D printer without having to scale it. To modify the grid size, click Edit Grid in the bottom right-hand corner of your design window. Tinkercad by default works in millimeter units, and 3D printers are designed around the concept of millimeters. For comfort when referencing the model sizes, it may be easier using the unit of inches. For preset, scroll down the list to choose MakerBot Replicator 2, which is the printer located in the library's Innovation Lab. The width and length will automatically default to the machine's print bed dimensions. Now click Update Grid to save. See that the work plane has changed according to the preset size. After changing your units of measurement, we will set the snap grid. This is set to 1 millimeter or 1/8 inch by default, meaning when you move the object on your work plane, it will move 1 millimeter or 1/8 inch increments. Use the arrows on your keyboard to move in the set of increments along the work plane. For finer movements, change it to a smaller measurement such as 1/10 of a millimeter or 1/64 inch for precision work which will allow objects to line up very close to each other. You also have the option to turn it off entirely, but I recommend having some kind of snap for easier placement. Set your snap grid to 1/8 inch for today's project. Although there may be a variety of ways to create your 3D models in Tinkercad, let's focus on a couple. Method 1. The first method for designing the keychain will demonstrate text and shapes being subtracted, basically creating a hole or voids within the solid shape. Select the solid box shape from the menu on the right. Simply click on the shape once and click again in your work plane to place the shape. Change it to an isometric view by using the 3D box on the upper left-hand side of your design window. Press and hold to spin in a corner view direction. So we'll be looking at it from the top left front view. When you click on the shape, you'll see handles appear. These are the little squares around the shape that allow you to modify the measurements. We need to resize this box into the keychain shape that we're aiming for. So begin by selecting the handle which is centered on top of the box shape and resize the height of the box by typing in 0.25 inches. Next, select the left bottom handle to resize the width. In the dimensions box, type in 3.0 inches. And lastly, select the front bottom center handle to resize the depth. In the dimensions box, type in 1.0 inches. Again, the measurements are 0.25 inches for the height, 3.0 inches for the width, and 1.0 inches for the depth. Select the text option from the Basic Shapes menu on the right. Place it onto the solid base we just created. Click once on the text shape for the handles to appear, and while pressing Shift on the keyboard, use the corner handle to rescale it to a smaller size so that it fits within the solid shape. Next, we need to center our text to our solid object. Sometimes when you manually want to center the two objects, it might not comply. So I'll use the Align tool on the top menu to help me accurately center these two objects together. To select both objects, I'll need to draw an invisible frame around them. Next, I'll select Align or press L on your keyboard. You'll notice circle handles appear. I'll select the center handle on all three sides for length, width, and height of the object. I'll then adjust my view using the 3D Cube tool to make sure everything is nice and centered before moving on to the next step. To unselect the Align, just simply click on your work plane and then select your text again. Now to customize the text. Select the text and a shape menu will appear. Expand this menu to view more options. I will change my font to Sans Mono and adjust the bevel to 0.3. You can add your name to the text box. If it doesn't fit, you can always make size adjustments after. We'll stick to using capital letters for this project. Making the text a hole instead of a shape will now create the void in the solid. We'll need to make sure that it goes through the solid on both sides. By adjusting my camera to look from the top at an angle, I can pull the center handle up to increase the size. I'll do the same for the bottom side to increase the length by pulling the center handle. No need to ensure that the lengths are equal on both sides, as the whole shape is considered invisible. To round the edge of your keychain, select the round roof shape and place it on the work plane. It will need to be rotated, so adjust the 3D camera view as needed. Looking at it from a front angle view, the rotation handle will be visible on the top back side of the shape. If placing it on the right side, we will rotate it to -90 degrees. Type it in the box and press Enter. Next, adjust the thickness of the shape by selecting the top handle and type in 0.25 inches and Enter. Align the shapes to get a more accurate view. Select all shapes by drawing an invisible frame around them and click Align. The round node handles will appear. Select the center node along the vertical line of the round shape. Next, adjust the rounded height of the round shape to 0.125 inches and the vertical height to 1.0 inches. Select the round shape and manually connect it to the rectangle. It's okay to overlap the two shapes a bit, as we want to ensure they're well connected to one another. Orbit around the model to make sure everything looks good and it's properly aligned. Let's make space for the keyring. Press and hold the Shift key on your keyboard and select the text to move it over towards the rounded edge. Holding Shift will ensure it remains centered. Next, select the round roof shape and place it on the work plane next to your 3D model. It will need to be rotated and adjusted in size. Rotate the front, bottom, center handle to 90 degrees and press Enter. Rotate the back side center handle to 90 degrees. And adjust the thickness to 0.50 inches. Click on the round roof shape and drag it to the left side of the rectangle. Adjust the front center handle to 0.70 and the right center handle to 0.375. Align it to the 3D model, and you may manually have to nudge it over with the arrows on your keyboard to get it in the right place. Make sure it's not too far from the edge and not too close. We want to get it about right so that we would be able to easily insert a keyring on this once it's printed. Make the keyring shape invisible by selecting the shape and selecting the hole option. Make sure that the hole goes all the way through the main base of the keychain, making similar height adjustments as we did with the text. All objects we just added to our design are still individual pieces. In order to prepare the model for 3D printing, those pieces need to be grouped as one whole object prior to exporting. Draw a frame around the entire keychain and select Group from the top menu. You'll now notice that when you click on the keychain, it selects it as a whole. If edits still need to be made, simply double-click on the object to make adjustments as needed, and when done, just click outside of the object on your work plane to lock it back into a group. To view your overall measurements of the grouped object, use the ruler tool, place it at the corner endpoint of the keychain. If rescaling is needed, remember to press and hold Shift when enlarging or reducing the size. Ready to export? Click the Export button on the top right-hand side. This will open a new window with details on how to export. Include the selected shape since it's a grouped object. Tinkercad also offers pre-selected places to send your model, which we will not use today. Back in the download window, In the 3D print section, click the .stl box to export it as an STL file, which will save to your computer. To remove the ruler, click on the X. Method 2 will consist of making a 3D line shape to allow the text shapes to sit along it, and then add a keyring. Start by inserting a basic box shape onto your work plane. Rotate your view, and let's adjust the height of the top handle to read 0.125 and press Enter. Next, adjust the depth to read 0.25 and press Enter. And last, adjust the length to read 3.0 and press Enter. Select the text option from the Basic Shapes menu and place it onto your work plane. We will need to make some adjustments to the text dimensions. Select it so the handles appear and click on the left handle to adjust the width to 3.0 and press Enter. And then click on the top handle to adjust the thickness of the text to 0.125 and press Enter. Adjust your view to look at it from the side and draw a frame around the text and the bar shape to align and connect them. Click on the center nodes all around the object. And lastly, manually drag the bar down to the base of the text, overlapping it a little as we want the text and the bar to be printed as one piece. Rotate your camera around the objects to ensure they are aligned and the same in thickness and length. Expand the Text Shapes menu and rename the text. Select Sans as the font and adjust the bevel to 0.73. By making these changes, it has enlarged our text once again. So we need to make a couple adjustments by starting with the width to 3.0 and the height to 0.5. Align the two objects and click on the center nodes. And then manually adjust the text to sit overlapping the bar shape. We're going to be adding the keyring to the keychain. Turn your camera view to look at the keychain from the left side. Change the height of the bar shape by clicking on the center handle in the front and type in 0.125, Enter. From the Basic Shapes menu, select the tube shape and place it on your work plane. By clicking on the corner handle, you'll adjust the dimensions, type in 0.25 and press Enter. Move your tube shape to the right of the keychain, because we're going to have to lengthen the bar shape to the right to make enough space for the tube. No particular dimension required, just enough length so that you can align the tube and intersect it on the end of the bar shape. Draw an invisible frame around your tube shape and the bar shape together so that you can align the two together. Select the node on the very left horizontal plane and the node on the very right on the vertical plane. It should look a little something like this, ensuring everything is centered and aligned. Inspect your 3D design to ensure it's all connected, as we don't want any pieces to be separated. Once you've looked over your design all around, draw a frame around all objects to select all and group them. They are now considered one entire object rather than multiple pieces. When you click Export, you have several options for the format in which you will export your design. We will export this design as a .stl, which is the universal format for 3D printing. The STL format is supported by many other software packages as it's widely used for rapid prototyping, 3D printing, and computer-aided manufacturing. But let's say you just grouped two things together and realize that one of the objects you just grouped needs to be adjusted. Instead of hitting undo or using the ungroup command Ctrl-Shift-G, you can simply double-click on the object you just grouped, and it will temporarily ungroup it, allowing you to make adjustments until you click away from it onto your work plane.